Hello everyone, this is Mr. Ensmeyer here with the next in our video series. This is a video on two little pop-ups that can help you with your Visual Basic programs, input boxes and message boxes. So I have a little project here entitled Input Message Boxes. So if you're watching this video, feel free to pause it and start a new project. I'll wait. Tick tock, tick tock. Obviously you can just pause it. I'm going to get started. So we'll start with the properties, of course, as we always do. I'll change this to input and message boxes. And what am I in the mood for today? How about a background color? How about dark salmon? Why not? All right. So from here, a lot of this is going to be in the code. We're not going to really look too terribly much at the tools so much as these things that you can generate in the code. But first, what I'll do is I will at least make a text box, or sorry, a text box. Oops, a button is what I meant to say. I'll make that little button there, and let me put in a label here beside that button. Let me go to my button. I will design that with the text being the exciting universal prompt, click me. And I will change my font to something a little bit bigger. Change my background color to something a little bit different. Fire brick. Who named these things anyway? White smoke. White smoke on fire brick. Man, that's exciting. All right, and then the other thing I'll do with the label, again, as we typically will do, we'll change the auto size to false. We will go down to the text alignment, center that. For the text, I'll clear it out here in a minute. Let me expand upon this, make it roughly the size of my button, and let me up the font. There we go. And hey, well, let me give it a border style, fixed single. Why not? And hey, let's also give it a background. Let's give it light coral. And then maybe we'll just shrink all this. Okay, and then oops, like I said, we want to go and clear out that text, so it's completely blank, just a blank old box. Okay, so let me first show you the input box. It is a way to get input, obviously based off of the name, but it's without doing it with a text box like I've showed you before. It's purely in the code. So I'm going to double click on the button itself to go into the code for button one click. And so here is what I will do. I'm going to put text into the label box. Okay, so I will dim let's say word as string. So this might be the first time that I've shown you a different variable type. We've done integers thus far, but strings, we've talked about strings in the past in Python. Strings are alphanumeric information. It is a character, a sequence of numbers and characters. It's a word, it's a sentence. It's basically anything that's not just a number. And then what I'll do from here is I'm going to say the word is equal to an input box. And then you're going to hit parentheses. And then as is usual, up will pop a long little help window, I guess you want to call it, a little tooltip, we would call it. And just so you know, I wouldn't expect you to look at that as a beginning student and be like, oh, I understand exactly what's going on. But just so you can see, sort of what's going on. The first thing it wants here is a prompt. It's saying basically like, what do you want this pop-up box to say to the person? And it's a string. Just like in Python, strings are always in quotes. Then over here it says title. Again, it's a string. This is in a square bracket, meaning it's optional. Then you can do the default response, and then the position of the window. what we're going to stick with is just the prompt and the title. And you'll see why when I do this. So, quote, what is your name? And then we'll close that off. And then comma, quotes, let's put, I don't know, about hi there. So, remember I said this is the prompt. This is the title. Well, what does it look like? Well, let's finish it off. We'll say label1.text equals word. So, once again, going right to left, whatever we typed in the box will go straight into there. And if I run this, here's what happens. Now, this is all in the code. I don't have to add anything through the tools at all. I just go on here and I say, click me. And then this is the input box pop-up. It's a text box. Here's the prompt. Here is the menu title. So there's hi there, and there's what's your name. So let's type this in. We'll say Sming, hit OK, and there is my text that I typed in the label box. So very easy way to get pop-up. If you don't want to have a text box on your form, you can have a pop-up input box do that for you. All right. Next, let me show you message boxes. So let's say after you type in their name, we want to have another pop-up come up saying something, who knows what. So for this one, I'm going to do MSG box, message box, parenthesis. And once again, it's saying, I need a prompt. Okay, so how about just we put something simple? Thank you. Right? Yay, that's pretty simple, right? Message box pops up that says thank you. I'm going to run it again. Click, and then type in your name again, hit OK. It'll keep going, but then it'll pop up and say thank you. I also should mention, just in case you're running it and it doesn't seem like it's coming up, try and minimize Visual Basic. Sometimes, depending on your video card, graphics drivers, and stuff like that, sometimes these pop-up boxes can accidentally go behind your Visual Studio window. So if you're running this and you're like, oh my gosh, where is everything? Try that. See if it's there. If you're extending your monitor, you're duplicating your monitor to a second screen, also might be the case, look on the other screen. Okay, so we have input boxes and we have simple message boxes. There's one more thing I want to see with a message box, and that would be giving different button options with message boxes. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Right here we said set the input box equal to a variable. And here we just said message box. Just boom, there it is. Now, when I put my cursor over top of that, you might notice I can't really move it. I can't really point my finger, but look directly underneath. Like you read the first couple lines, it says return constant value OK 1, cancel 2, abort 3, retry 4, ignore 5, 6, yes, 7, no. Those are the different button options in Windows that you can have on a pop-up. And if you look over on our little tooltip here, it says prompt is first, but then buttons is next. So watch this. Watch what we can do. So first, because you're clicking a button and it's like a choice, you're saying, oh, do you want to do yes or no? Okay. I'm going to dim a variable called choice as an integer. It's an integer because the computer treats these buttons as numbers. That's what those numbers were. 0 for OK, and so on and so forth. Now, you don't need to worry about that. The computer will take care of it for you. Just watch this. Choice equals message box. Would you like to turn the label green? Okay. Now, instead of doing an input box where I would have to type yes or no, I'm going to put a comma here. And in my little pop-up, my little autocomplete pop-up, there's some choices here. Message box style. If I scroll up and down, I see some of the choices. There's a choice for yes, no. Now, I'm not saying this is the only one. There's plenty of other choices here. But the one I'm going to pick for this program is yes or no. And I don't have to type all that. I can just go down here and click on it, and now I have made a message box that's going to pop up. Instead of just saying okay, it's going to say yes or no. So it's a choice. And anytime you have a choice, that leads to an if statement. How about this? If choice equals, now how do you say yes or no? Well, if I start typing yes, look what comes up. The constants are VB yes, VB no, VB okay. They always start with VB for Visual Basic. So if I want to say it's yes, I do this. I say if choice equals VB yes, then label one back color equals color.green. Now, I could do no, but if I say no, then nothing happens. So I don't really need an else. All I really need is the yes. And that's how you would match up the yes. That's how you match up, the retry, the cancel, the okay. It's just VB followed by whatever button you have in there. Okay, cancel, abort, and so on. So let me try this out. Click me one more time. Sming. And then thank you, input boxes. So now I go to the next, and it's going to do this. Would you like to turn the label green? Well, if I click no, you're not going to see anything happen. So let's click yes. And it does. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our video for today, tonight, this morning, whenever you're watching this. If you've enjoyed it, take care.